Welcome to Video Ghoulash. My name is Chance Kelly. Seaside Terrors, Coastal Creeps, Oceanfront Horror. I don't know what I'm gonna name this video. All of those things. One of my all-time favorite subgenres. Let's do a list. Let's talk about it. Why, yes, I do love Lovecraft. Look, this subgenre is near and dear to my heart. I've been a big fan of it since I was little. It's a weird kind of a subgenre. Lovecraft is probably the granddaddy of it. He doesn't own the genre, but he sure as hell has a lot to do with it. His influences are seen throughout horror in a lot of different ways that people don't even know. But this isn't a Lovecraft video. This is a Seaside Terrors, Oceanfront Horrors, Coastal Creeps video. The rules for which are pretty simple for me. Whether the threat came from the ocean or the land, most of the action in the film takes place seaside. I'll do another list at some point that's on the ocean or underneath the ocean. We'll save that for later. But this is about coastal terror and that coastal vibe. Big fan of it. There's a couple movies I'm going to mention right off the bat I did not put on the list, and that's because I feel like they've been getting love and don't need me to mention them. I'm going to talk about Dead and Buried right now. Dead and Buried is awesome. I love that movie. So cool. Very coastal horror. Very seaside terror. Go check out Dead and Buried if you haven't seen it. The Fog. The Fog maybe kicked the genre off for me at all, this subgenre. Yeah, John Carpenter's The Fog is maybe my favorite seaside terror movie. And then there's Dagon. Dagon, Stuart Gordon made Dagon. Definitely fits the bill for this. But again, that's another one that I feel like is kind of more well-known. And instead of including it here, I wanted to throw in some things that I recently just found. And some things that maybe are older, but don't get quite the love that I think they deserve. I'm going to kick off with The Block Island Sound from 2020. This one's brand new to me. I just found this. I watched it a couple times. Really cool flick, written and directed by Kevin and Matthew McManus. Something lurks just off the coast of Block Island, silently influencing the behavior of fisherman Tom Lynch. After suffering a series of violent outbursts, he unknowingly puts his family in grave danger. That's sort of the setup that you can read on IMDb. So, horror, mystery, sci-fi, thriller, cosmic horror. It's definitely a slow burn kind of a movie. If you don't have an attention span or don't like mystery, this isn't for you. If you like movies that are heavy on the atmosphere and heavy on the vibe and have a lot going on and you have to hang with it and learn what's happening and it doesn't answer all your questions for you, The Block Island Sound is for you. Kind of X-Files vibes for me, just in the fact that it's got sort of an investigative element, mixes that investigative element with the personal relationships and connections. You've got your sci-fi and mystery with a dash of horror. It's all put together on this just off the coast feeling. The movie has this interesting payoff too, which is much of what there is to understand about the movie is based on its thematics, I think. So if you're watching this, pay attention. It's not heavy-handed, even though it's not going to serve it up on a silver platter to you. For me, it was also obvious. Maybe I watch a lot of films in this kind of a vein. Nothing got me here as far as like thematics and plot points. I understood everything that was going on and what we were reaching for. I don't think this movie's hard to understand like that, but it is heavy on the atmosphere, and it begs you to just take the ride and kind of put things together for yourself as you're going along, or at least try to. I don't think it's being purposefully obtuse or murky at all, if you catch my drift. It's all right there. It's purposefully laid out in the script, laid out in how the movie unfolds. I think if you're used to this type of a horror movie, you won't have any problem following it at all. If you're not used to this kind of thing, you might have a little bit of struggle following along, but I doubt it. I don't really think it's that deep or complex where you're just going to get lost. And this one's very heavy on the atmosphere. Certainly while this one goes on water, what's scary about this movie largely is what takes place with the characters and the people that encounter whatever this thing is. I'm surprised how little this movie is out there or talked about. I found it myself through untraditional means, just going on a Reddit. I was looking for something else entirely different, trying to find a movie that I know exists, and I'm like trying to figure out what it was, which I figured it out, by the way. But I landed on a thread where somebody started talking about the Block Island Sound, and I was like, what the hell is that? At any rate, this movie is very well done. Its lower budget is used so well that you don't even think about the budget. The film itself is intriguing. It's really well shot, expertly acted. It's got some really cool plot points and thematics that it lays in, and some subtext. Yeah, I think you guys should check this out if you're into Seaside horror.
Somebody's gonna end up dead! You hear me? Harry!
It's definitely worth a watch. The Block Island Sound 2020. It's on Netflix. Offseason from 2021. This is directed and written by Mickey Keating. It stars Jocelyn Donahue, as you see right there. After receiving a mysterious letter, a woman travels to a desolate island town and soon becomes trapped in a nightmare. That's what they give you on the IMDb. So, Offseason deserves so much more attention than it gets. I know people that, like me, are into this kind of subgenre a lot, and they're like, whoa, what is it? I didn't even know that was that kind of a movie. Yeah, it is. This is a coastal horror, kind of Lovecraftian, Euro-Gothic, vibing, sort of Fulci drenched vibe here in Offseason. It mixes so many cool kind of atmospherics and vibes that you've experienced in other movies, and it mixes them together here. What an incredible vibe this movie has. It's definitely Lovecraftian, but it like tangos with the fog of dreams and the liminal deep Floridian locale. If you've been deep into Florida, especially like southern coastal and Offseason, it's got a very liminal, spooky feel, and it's very southern coastal gothic is what I call it. The narrative structure in Offseason is really cool. It's lends to like kind of the Lovecraftian aspects of it, because it has like chapters and chapter titles. It sort of pirouettes between memories and flashbacks and dreams and current action. It also does this thing where it has all of these different setups and sort of settings, disturbing psychological impacts mirrored in settings, but it has this disturbing psychological swing to it, because it also deals with mental health and mental health problems and giving in to mental health problems, or whether or not maybe someone is crazy at all and you just think they are. It has some genuinely bizarre, like off-balance, eerie moods. You got strange stories, you've got evil history. You've got a movie with that. The whole thing feels haunted. Everything's permeated with existential dread. It's got sort of Messiah of evil, dead and buried forefathers, I think. Jocelyn Donahue is your main character here. Marie Aldrich, by the way. Aldrich. I don't think that's on accident. Anyway, we need to just appreciate how awesome Jocelyn Donahue is in everything she's in, and especially as a lead. She has this ability to ground her performances so well, even in the wildest things. She's an awesome lead. I loved her in House of the Devil, Frontier. I mean, she's amazing. Yuma, Last Stop in Yuma County, Offseason. Jocelyn Donahue's amazing, and she kills it in this movie. She's got a letter that her mother's grave has been disturbed, and she travels down to Florida with a friend. It's end of summer, fall is beginning. They're closing the town, closing the bridge. They're not letting anyone in. However, mother's grave is there. She has the letter, so she gets let in by Richard Brake, who plays the bridge man. Richard Brake, what a cool actor he is. He always brings some intensity and some just pure psychological mayhem to his roles. Offseason has this abandoned, liminal feel to it, the coastal desolation, and there's this inclusion of like old jazz standards in the soundtrack. Old jazz standards from this bygone era sort of infest the soundtrack, and they're kind of made to sound kind of extra warbly and off time. Anyway, it's such a mood. The whole thing's such a mood. I know that this kind of horror can be an acquired taste for people. I'm personally totally in love with it. If you like Seaside horror, and if you're a fan of Lovecraft, and anything that has that kind of mystery, whodunit, cosmic horror, spooky town, maybe haunted town, maybe infested with things and people that maybe aren't people, Offseason's for you. It's awesome. It's not perfect. It's trotted ground. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it's done really well. I think it's one of the standouts to this kind of horror. And criminally underseen, Offseason from 2021. You guys go check it out.
I'm sorry!
So because I just talked about it, let's talk about it next. Messiah of Evil from 1974. This movie is written and directed by Willard Huyck and Gloria Katz. I hope I'm saying that right. Huyck. Willard, I hope I'm not butchering your name if you're still with us. This is about a young woman that goes searching for her father. Her father's missing. Her father's an artist. Her last known whereabouts that she knows about where her father was is this town called Point Dune. It's a Seaside, California town. She takes the journey there. It's bizarre, and it seems to be governed by kind of a mysterious cult. Maybe an undead cult. Messiah of Evil has probably been copied 100 times as far as atmospherics and feel. It is the standard for atmospheric, ambient, surreal, disjointed, provocative, liminal. It's stylized yet pervasive. It makes you feel occupied by doom and existential dread, even though it's a very liminal, off-kilter feeling film. When I was looking up Messiah of Evil to get the date, what year it came out, there was a review, and it was titled like having a bizarre zombie themed lucid dream. And I was like, that is about the most apt description of Messiah of Evil. Like, you've got these elements of it where this town, it feels so hollowed out that feeling sort of permeates the entire film, and the bizarreness of what this woman encounters when she's looking for her father and the character she encounters. The movie has this sort of Lovecraftian by Fulci, by Argento, kind of Dagon meets Fulci's Zombie meets like Suspiria or even Inferno, or it has all of these crazy vibes, this beautiful, rich cinematography, and that kind of crazy feel, but it's all wrapped up in a really heavy 70s era California coast vibe. I mean, there's even some ways, honestly, that this movie reminds me of A Clockwork Orange, the feeling of it. The seaside town itself, it's a very present character here. Messiah of Evil deals with maybe a cult and maybe something that came walking out of the water a long time ago that might come back again. You've got a town that you don't really understand everything about, but you feel threatened. There's a lot of dread present, especially encountering the people. Just that off feeling. Messiah of Evil is like the king of that. I think it's the definition of cult classic. It took me a long time to see it. I think I only saw it a few years ago. I thought I had already seen it. Turns out I hadn't. I watched it, blown away. Instantly became one of my favorite movies, but knowing that it came before all of this other stuff, inspired all of this other stuff. The heavy concept, the horror film that relies on tension and atmosphere and great filmmaking. This is the kind of movie that this is. High recommend. Messiah of Evil, 1974. Seek it out. It's amazing. It's a piece of cinema history, I think.
They say that nightmares are dreams perverted. I've told them here it wasn't a nightmare, but they don't believe me.
Next up on this Oceanside horror list is Marrowbone from 2017. It was written and directed by Sergio G. Sanchez. You got circa 1969, young man and three siblings. They have a secret. They've moved with their mother to America to remain together. They're plagued by a mysterious kind of threat that you do find out what it is later on. But they move into this home. There's a sinister presence there. This home is a sprawling seaside manor. And this movie is so freaking good. I don't understand why I don't ever see anyone talking about it. Let's talk about the cast alone. George McKay is Jack. Incredible lead English actor. You will know who these people are, even though they were in this before you knew who they were. I guarantee it. Anya Taylor-Joy is Allie. Charlie Heaton, Stranger Things, he's Billy. And Mia Goth is in this as Jane. I don't know how this film's not talked about more. It's a top-level production, first of all. Outstanding cast, outstanding script. Location is amazing. The execution of this film is amazing. This movie feels as big as any period piece could ever feel. It's got a tone that feels like a period drama. The costuming, I mean, the locale, everything is so top-notch in this movie. It'll blow your mind. You'll start watching and you go, wow, how did I not know that this movie exists? Those of you that have seen it, that know it exists, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This movie's as good as any period piece. I don't know what the budget was. I didn't look it up, but I know that it feels very big. This movie feels like the slickest production, except that it's got this really crazy tone and narration that is different. The tone of the film feels kind of like a period drama, like I said. You've got this splendor of new beginnings and this sort of the beauty of kind of nostalgic past before things start turning dark. And let me tell you, they turn dark and they turn heavy. The moments of horror and tension in this increase as you go on. You start to think you know what's going on, then you don't. The narrative structure jumps around a bit. I think it's one of those movies that says, you know, damn a rule book, I'm going to tell a story the way it needs to be told for it to be effective. So Marrowbone's really cool that way in the narrative structure and how things are laid in. There's an ever-present doom and tension in the film. Marrowbone has this really interesting sort of seaside locale, like this gorgeous, sprawling manor above these, on a cliff basically, and the beach down below. And it's a key location. It's absolutely gorgeous. What happens to in that seaside environment, there are some things that are very important to the plot that happen very seaside, but the whole manor and the whole vibe of the movie to me is very seaside as well. Very idyllic seaside. God, I wish I had a house like that in that location. But Marrowbone 2017, I guarantee you'll get hit in the feels watching this movie. And it mixes a lot of genres together. It's certainly a horror movie, but it has a lot of other elements too. Marrowbone, 2017, really cool seaside terror flick. You want coastal creeps, you want The Slayer from 1982. This is directed by J.S. Cardone, written by J.S. Cardone and Bill Ewing. This is about two couples that are trying to get some R&R. One in particular, a woman who's an artist, she is having these nightmares and is just stressed and they need to get away. And so they decide, hey, it's off season. Let's fly down. Let's get on this isle. It'll be abandoned. It'll be peaceful and calm. They fly down there. They get stranded there because of a storm. And maybe their house is haunted by something supernatural. Maybe it's all in her mind. Maybe not, though. This movie has got such a vibe to it. It's got the very particular southern coastal vibe, the gothic southern. I call it southern gothic coastal vibes. The Spanish moss and the southern beaches are very specific. From North Carolina down to Georgia, they actually shot this in Georgia. At Tybee Island, so just a few hours from me actually. But it's one of my favorite atmospheres in horror is the southern gothic beach vibe. Such a cool feeling in this movie. It kind of functions like a slasher movie. It feels very slasher-esque in execution, and one of my favorite things about it, besides the atmosphere too, is the cast and the characters. You've got a group of adults here. It's not a bunch of teens. I got no problem with that. I love that kind of movie. I'll always watch that kind of movie. But I appreciate the fact that you're dealing with a group of adults that have adult problems. And they are trying to get away. But as Kay begins to experience more and more nightmares, you learn a little bit more about her. That maybe she's had nightmares her whole life. That maybe a lot of her paintings are based, like the impetus from her paintings comes from these terrible nightmares. But as she begins to have worse and worse nightmares of people dying, people disappear. The Slayer is a really cool movie. It's another one that kind of deals with going crazy, maybe mental health, but it has such a rad, coastal, gothic, creepy vibe. Desolate beach, storm rolling in, oceanfront home, that's the main setting, is really cool. It plays an integral role, as does the island itself. So The Slayer, 1982, definitely an oceanfront horror movie. Definitely a rad atmosphere. You want some beachfront horror? You want some seaside terrors? You want Tormented from 1960. Bert I. Gordon is the director. It was written by George Worthing Yates and Bert I. Gordon. Bert I. Gordon, Mr. Big, as he was known. This is about a guy who lets a former flame fall to her death rather than save her. She basically tracks him down. He's getting married. He's broken it off with her a long time ago. Now that things are getting serious with this other woman, and he's getting married. And the ex won't let it go, is going to manipulate him, going to blackmail him, and falls over the edge and is hanging on and reaches out, help me. And he's like, nah. That's the setup. I didn't give away the movie. What happens after that is she basically haunts him, torments him, and she does all of this in this locale that centers around this old lighthouse. The beach, the island, is a huge character in the film. You've got fantastic effects for a movie this age. It has some really cool effects, like fun ghost story aspects that I think the ghost story aspects in this thing are done really well. I mean, some of it's kind of corny. I mean, look, it's 1960. Give it a little bit of leeway. Understand what you're watching and when it came from a little bit. It does have a little spooky kookiness to it, but the story is actually pretty cool. Some of the ghostly antics could be disturbing if they were done today. I could certainly make them disturbing. I could take this. Would be a cool movie to remake, actually. I'm not big on remakes, but this one would be neat to sort of reimagine. At any rate, I love the missing ring gag that they have in this. You know, the acting is spotty at times in this one, even for its time period. However, it ends up being a spooky, kooky good time, a fun time, full of coastal seaside horrors, just a fun watch. Tormented 1960 definitely deserves to be on this list. It's a good time. Go check it out. Next up, got to talk about Beach House from 2019. This is directed and written by Jeffrey A. Brown, stars Liana Liberato as Emily and Noah LaGrosse as Randall. These are your leads. They carry the whole movie. You've got Jake Weber, you'll recognize him as Mitch in here as well. This is a really cool flick about a couple, I think the college sweethearts, and they're having trouble in their relationship, so they're going to get away to Randall's dad's beach house and kind of just hang out and see if they can't hash some stuff out. They have unexpected guests, and then something rolls in from the ocean. Some kind of infection, some bizarre thing that's bigger. It's one of those movies that has a huge idea with big implications, and we're going to tell it in a very small fashion within the context of these people that you're meeting on the beach. This is one of my favorite kinds of ways to tell a story. Reminds me like Stephen King. Stephen King does the same thing. Sets you up in an environment and a personal connection with people, and it feels very small, and then you twist in the supernatural element. You twist in the horror. You twist in the eco-horror, whatever it is, your antagonist element. I'm not giving anything away here when I tell you that from the outset, you know something's wrong with the ocean, something's wrong, something's amiss with Mother Nature. It sets that out for you on the table right in the beginning before you even meet the characters. So I'm not giving anything away there. That's the setup of the movie. Anyway, Beach House has that nice liminal, abandoned, creepy feel. Anyone that's ever lived in a beach town or worked at a resort or in kind of beachfront or maybe summer attractions, things like that, you know this vibe. This is that vibe when you're left on as a skeleton crew in the off season and you're sitting there experiencing the beach. You're sitting there experiencing an environment that you usually associate with fun and people and good times, but you're seeing the power and the mystery of it, the depth and just the huge implications of things like the ocean that we know less about than outer space, that there are things in there that are probably beyond our wildest imaginations. And this movie grabs a hold of that fear, grabs a hold of that sort of eco-horror and throws it right at you in this coastal environment, this liminal, scary, hollow feeling environment. The tension just rises with this movie. It's kind of crawls along and infests the movie, infects the movie, if you will, much like this thing that rolls up through this fog off of the ocean. So the tension really occupies it to me from first frame because of the way they set the table, but also because of the interpersonal relationships and the characters and the things that they're experiencing together. It's a very well acted movie. I really dig both the leads. Noah LaGrosse does a great job here. Liana Liberato is awesome in this as well. Really cool flick that I equally dig and equally hate. This movie pissed me off so bad when I saw it the first time, because I wrote a treatment for a horror film of mine, my own idea, several years ago. And this movie is damn well like somebody got a hold of my treatment and was like, hey, I'm going to write a prequel. Despite that, I love this movie. And like I said, that's pretty wild to me. This is a very specific impetus that starts this movie. There's this very specific way that this thing functions. And I don't think it's like the easiest idea to come up with. There are a lot of ideas people have, and you're like, well, of course somebody else thought of that. I'm telling you, man, wild. It still blows my mind. I ain't mad at it. Mine's its own thing. But the Beach House is like a prequel to it in a lot of ways. At least I got to see how cool the premise is and how cool it works in the context of this story. Beach House 2019. Super cool movie. Super coastal beach vibes in the creepiest sort of way. Next up, we're going to travel to Greece for Blood Tide, 1982. This is directed by Richard Jefferies. It was written by Richard Jefferies and Nico Mastorakis. Yes, that Nico Mastorakis. If you're not familiar with him, go look him up. He's written and directed some really cool films. Island of Death, Nightmare at Noon, I love. Hired to Kill. Zero Boys. Zero Boys is really cool. In the Cold of the Night. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you've never heard any of these movies, go check them out. Go look them up. You can thank me later. But Blood Tide is this occult thriller, seaside, cosmic horror mystery movie. It's about this couple and their friends. One of their friends is looking for his sister. They travel to Greece to this island looking for his missing sister. The setup here is that there was some adventurer or treasure hunter guy that woke up this monster, this being, and that the locals have to sacrifice virgins to appease this thing, maybe put it back to sleep. So the cast is led by my buddy Marty Cove. Marty, you're awesome in this movie, man. Martin Cove, you might know Marty in Cobra Kai, Karate Kid, right? He's Sensei Kreese, man. First Blood. Marty's an awesome actor. Great guy. Love you, dude. And you're killer in this, man. And you lead an incredible cast. By the way, this is James Earl Jones is in this. Jose Ferrer, masterclass actor there. Deborah Shelton. Oh, God, gorgeous, gorgeous Deborah Shelton. She's on the cover of Blood Tide. If you've seen the cover, I've got the big box VHS packed away, unfortunately. I wish I could hold it up. But Blood Tide is a really cool Lovecraftian type of romp. It's got this adventurous spirit, sailing, bright sun, beautiful, gorgeous ocean water, Greek Isle. And it's beautiful, and it's off-putting too. You've got this strange group of people worshiping something. It's got a very kind of mood that's specific to itself with the Greek location. And it's got no problems telling you there's a monster, an underwater monster, some old god, little g, that they worship. Anyway, the mood and the seaside setting is a character of its own. The Greek Isle, the Greek town that they're in, it's a setting and a mood all by itself. It's its own character, really. And I'll tell you, it's got a ramshackle plot, but the cast is so good. The actors are so good. You're okay with it. As you can see from this list, atmosphere, vibe, a neat premise, all of that can go a long way with me, even if technically, like, you know, some of the things about it fall apart. Am I having a good time? Is it atmospheric? Are the actors delivering? You know, am I intrigued by the idea? Blood Tide, I'm going to say yes, I am. A halfway decent premise, a beautiful seaside location, a creepy cult, lots of skin, lots of gore, an underwater Lovecraftian monster. Sold. Blood Tide, 1982. Definitely a fun coastal horror flick. So I'm going to keep swimming in Lovecraftian waters and talk about Dark Waters from 1993. This is directed by Mariano Beno and written by him and Andy Bark. Louise Salter is Elizabeth, your lead, and Venera Simmons is Sarah. She's your co-lead here. This movie is about a woman whose father has passed away, and she's found out that he's been making payments to this monastery on this island. And so she travels against his dying wishes to this place to find out what the hell is going on. Unfortunately for you, as you learn things about what's going on, by the end, the murkiness and bizarreness of this movie, you're still going to kind of wonder what the hell just happened. And you know what? I'm kind of okay with it, and I'll tell you why. This has got this Lovecraftian feel, this really cool 70s Italian gothic horror throwback. It's really creepy. Got a creepy, heavy murkiness to this movie. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this monastery and underneath the monastery in the catacombs, on the beach. And it's not your typical, it's like a white sand beach. No, it's shells and rocks. They filmed this in the Ukraine. This movie has a very specific feel, a very specific heavy seaside terror to it. Very Lovecraftian horror here. And as much as you kind of maybe don't understand exactly everything that's going on, you've got two really awesome leads who are both gorgeous. Venera Simmons, who plays a nun, Sarah, that's befriended Elizabeth and is helping her out along the way, seemingly so, is dressed in a burlap nun outfit that kind of makes her look like a chicken nugget. She's the prettiest chicken nugget you'll ever see. But she's a chicken nugget, a nugget. A chicken nugget. Sorry. At any rate, it's super entertaining, even though if it falls apart a little bit confusing in its plot line. I do like the end. I think the end's pretty cool. I'm not going to give anything away. Like I said, it's very Lovecraftian, seaside terror. It's zany. It's got weird reveals, zany twists. You've got evil, cross-burning nuns on an island. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't overthink this one too much. A lot of people watch this movie and talk. I've seen a lot of people talk about this movie in forums and stuff, like they're trying to put it together. I don't think it's that deep. It just didn't stick the landing. It has a really cool ambiance and cool visuals and everything, and some of the murkiness of it had to do with some production problems, I believe is what the director said, but people still nonetheless try to figure it out when they shouldn't. I don't think it's that deep. Just watch the movie, enjoy it, take the ride. Heavy, cool vibes in this, man. Dark waters is a rad time. Very entertaining and worthy of your viewing pleasure. Or displeasure. We're going to finish things strong with Old from 2021, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, I know. Divisive director. Trust me, Old is a really cool flick. One of his best ones. M. Night is an awesome director. Not everything works. I know that. I'm not like a apologist or something. I've watched a lot of his films. Some of them don't work at all for me. Some of them I think are incredible. Old is one of those. Old is one of the ones that I think worthy of his talent as well as a director and filmmaker. You want beachfront horror? You want seaside terror? The location of this plays a very important role in the movie. The beach itself, the locale, the cliffs, the tropical forest, the caves, crevices, the things that are surrounding the environment itself plays an important character in this movie. I'm not going to give you anything. I'm not going to tell you why they can't just leave. But Old is a really cool flick. I'm not really going to say much about it other than you should watch it. I went in blind. I only watched it because I had really liked Knock at the Cabin, and I hadn't seen an M. Night movie in a long time. And that movie was so good, I went and checked this one out. And I actually think this one's better than Knock at the Cabin, which is saying something because that's an awesome flick. But yeah, you want seaside terror, beachfront horror, check this out. And what a cool premise. The ingenuity, originality of the premise. Old, coming in strong, finishing off our seaside terror, coastal creeps, oceanfront horrors. Thanks for chilling with me on the coast. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I try to curate these lists with things that maybe are a little off the beaten path or that I feel like don't get talked about enough, or at least I don't see talked about enough. What are some of your favorite oceanfront horror movies, seaside terror movies? There's a ton of them. I love this subgenre. It's a really cool subgenre, and I always like to find new things. I'm going back. I'm watching a lot of older movies lately too, which is a lot of fun. I've got a lot more content coming up, a lot more spooky horror content coming up. It's spooky season. So like, subscribe, do all the things, and I'll see y'all later. Skater.